So welcome. So this is a little story about me. I've been thinking of doing this for a while, and ever since I got my new prosthetic, so this one, I kind of felt like I had a story to share. The seed was kind of planted back when I was in like secondary school, and I thought like mountain biking was the coolest thing ever, and I just really wanted to do it someday, but I felt like it was kind of like out of my reach. Like as an amputee, sometimes you do have this really strong like mindset of like, I can do stuff, you know, like I can do everything, but I kind of felt like, you know, that's just something now I have to kind of set the boundaries, but like, I probably can't do that. Yeah, I remember like in fifth year in like the computer class, I used to just watch Rampage videos like all the time. And then I would come home and I would watch the documentary Where the Trail Ends, like it was High School Musical and I was 10. And I like, even now listening to the soundtrack, I can remember all the scenes from all the different songs. So yeah, I was just a bit obsessed with that. Obsessed with biking or fangirling over these two? I'm not sure. Moving on. And obviously like set the bar and standard very high for myself watching Free Ride from the very get-go. But yeah, so I thought that was really cool and I wanted to be able to do it, and but I felt like it was just probably outside my abilities. So I kind of left it, and I also had a small narrative in my head as well at the time that if I did do it and if I did try it, I would like suck at it so much that it would just be like a perpetual disappointment, and that wouldn't even be worth it. It would be like more disappointing to do it and fail. Anyway, I was wrong about that. So yeah, so then I finished secondary school and I went to college, and I was kind of like, oh no, I'm a surfer. I'm gonna join the surf club, and that's who I am. And then yeah, so I joined the surf club, and I also struggled severely with that. But I was like, nope, that's what I'm doing. And yeah, and then when I was in college, I wanted to get a prosthetic actually for being able to stand up paddleboard. Take a video anyway.
I am.
Okay. Is the video?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this side is a little bit better.
It's a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
Nice butt.
I guess it was like through doing that I was like, oh, I'm getting a prosthetic. I may as well get one for a bike too. And yeah, so when I was going in for those appointments at the time, I was like, I need a functional arm, like functional, because there's a lot of hype around like cosmetic limbs, like cosmetic artificial ones, and I just didn't really have much interest in them ever. So what I meant when I said functional is that No. That this arm can like detach here from the wrist. So you can take this off, and these little rings, anything that has this ring on it then can just slot in here. And it's basically the same here at the wrist or at the elbow then as well. So sometimes it is handy to have an attachment here, because the longer you have the arm, like the longer the lever is on my shoulder. So yeah, so that's kind of what I meant by a functional arm. These are a few clips from my prosthetic appointments. So to start off, a cast would be made of my arm, and then I'd get a silicone sleeve like that one there, and I'd kind of get a prototype made out. So that was me giving it a go for the first time. Grumpy Ellie, happy Ellie. That was the one you saw earlier for supping. And so this was the one I got for road biking. You can see that there was no shock in it, and also it was supposed to stay in a rigid position, but sometimes it used to just give out. And so it was like your elbow would just give out all of a sudden, and that used to be problematic for obvious reasons. Alright, so this next clip is extremely cringy and terribly embarrassing for me to watch, but in the interest of honesty and being transparent about this whole journey, I'm going to include it because it also did remind me as well, like the feelings I had at that time, and I was quite frustrated going to some of my appointments, because like sometimes I would describe getting a prosthetic similar to eating a bowl of soup with a fork. You're given something, you can kind of get a little bit of soup up there on that fork, but you just want a spoon because that would be class. And so sometimes it would bring up really kind of uncomfortable feelings and emotions that I hadn't dealt with, around kind of resenting my body, that I wasn't capable of doing these things that I wanted to do, and that I needed to get a prosthetic. So those were kind of feelings I didn't really understand at the time, and now I'm definitely a lot more just happy in my body. But yeah, that was something to go through. So that's why I'm gonna watch this excruciating piece of video. I'm just after cycling around the woods for the first time with my prosthetic, and it was really, really fun. It was so cool. Like way better than I knew I'd cry. It worked way better than I thought it would, and I was always kind of scared of getting really frustrated when I'd use my prosthetic, but this time it just actually worked out better. So yeah, the poor little prosthetic did not know what I was getting into. I ended up using it for biking, and it was severely overused and did not match what I was using it for. It's so cold. Can you see that I'm shaking? The starting 2020, that kind of summer then, is where things started to come together. Welcome. So yeah, I just remember saying to you, like, during that summer, like, I really wanted to go biking, and I knew you were doing it, and I was like, just take me with you. And I kind of got this like sort of batch job with the prosthetic I had at the time. So then I was like, well, look, you know, if I have a bike and have that, I can give it a go. And that is what we did.
So I remember meeting you in Curwoods, and that was like our first time, and I gave you the bike. And I had like adapted the brakes to try and work, that the two levers were on the one side. And it kind of worked, but yeah, no, it did work, like, but yeah, when we had our first time in Curwoods, and that was funny.
Yeah. I just remember thinking, like, in hindsight, like, I'm surprised you didn't make me sign a waiver, because like it was scandalous, like it was so bad. Yeah, so like from that day then I just was like a walking talking bruise. Like I was beat up to
I literally used to fall like a pygmy goat. Just plop.
You okay?
No.
Do you need a hand? Persistent.
Yeah. So yeah, basically I was falling all the time. And I wasn't really sure was I actually enjoying it, to be honest, because like we were riding like enduro trails and which like they weren't like crazy, but I don't know, maybe it wasn't like beginner friendly. So.
Yeah, they weren't big. They were slippy and wet and rooty, and yeah, you hadn't developed skills yet, and you hadn't the bike for it at the time.
Yeah. So the biggest difference was that in the first time I didn't have one of these pump stays. So like whenever I was riding, there was no give whatsoever, and any kind of like
Impact.
any impact, it was always going like straight into my arm. So at least then when I got this,
you could compress, and it was a bit of a shock absorber, and it just made life a lot easier.
yeah, that was such a big thing. And also just like the durability of this one was so much better. Like it's
The
carbon
first one
fiber.
was so bad. This little plastic ring in the wrist used to constantly break.
Yeah. And then you see, like, people don't really realize, like, so when that plastic ring and that prosthetic breaks, that means I need to book an appointment to go see the prosthesist, to then get that little plastic ring ordered, to then get another appointment to put it in. And like, you know, for me then, like, that's about like 2-3 weeks off my bike not getting to ride just because like poor design. But yeah, so but this one is really good, and like even like because it's a pump stay, and I can just order this whenever I want to get replacement bits, or like if anything, like something did break on it recently, like just like the little mounts or anything, and you can just swap it out straight away, and like there's no time between riding, you know, you can just fix it, and that's really important for users. So yeah, I did get a bit better when I got that arm.
Considering this is how I got my thrills in probably my first day of biking, I've definitely gotten better.
And
the new hardtail then helped, like.
Yeah, I had the hardtail, but then it was last Christmas I got my Live full sauce, and that was a big deal. That
Night and day. Oh my god.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm just on this like little cloud drifting over things. So yeah, I definitely got a lot better with the full sauce, and it just like opened up what I felt I could do and gave me so much more confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember actually the first day I got the full sauce, and we were riding in the Gap, and that's like the bike park in Ireland, and I remember being like, oh, it's not very good, it's very slow. And then you were just like, it's probably not slower, it's just because the hardtail was just like and I was like, whoa, I must be going so fast. But it was actually just because it was so turbulent.
Oh my god, did you see that?
Was it earlier up there?
Look at that.
We should probably not be in the range actually.
They're firing. We're far away. We'll be grand.
I always kind of think, you know, like if anyone else was in my position and wanted to do the things that I want to do, like they would just be doing the exact same thing. So I don't feel like what I'm doing is exceptional or extraordinary. Like it's just like what I wanted to do. So on to the FAQs. Because leading on from that, yeah, first it's like, wow, you're amazing, and I'm like, thank you.
We're just admiring you from afar. Like 2 days ago we saw you, right? Yes. I was looking and I said, wow.
Wow.
Great. And now with me. Great, thank you very much.
And then it's like, okay, time for a quick fire. How does it work? Oh, what's it made from? What can you do with it? Okay, so it just clamps on basically like you have to just smush it onto the handlebar basically, and that comes with its own problems because I go through grips like nobody's business because it just tears them, and then it is very scary because once it tears it enough, it just will pop off when I'm riding. So it's a no-no. That's not good. So moving up the way then. So then this is made from carbon fiber now, and it is quite strong. I do not have any serious breaks. I do have some war wounds, but...
And like you had some nasty crashes, like...
Yeah, so the pump stays. So this is actually something that you will find in the boot of your car or in your kitchen, holding up your cupboards. And it is now being repurposed as a shock. So yeah, my dad actually attached one of these to that first prosthetic I got because he was like, this is what we need. But we had ordered like 100 Newton strength. So they come in different strengths. But basically now I just use 40 Newtons. Just the magic number. And yeah, it just, you know, works like that. And so then we have that here where it can pop off as well. So, so it can come out like that, and that's the same as the wrist then. So you could pop anything on to this unit. So then it just goes back on like that. And so I use a silicone sleeve then. So this is usually how I get it out. And so it has like a pin here, and it just clicks into the grooves, and yeah, these kind of like stretch a little bit over time. I sweat a lot in this. This is actually what's called the sweatometer. And then it produces the holy water. And that is what I bless people on for their trail rides. So I have this dual caliper system from Hope. And yeah, I'm actually very grateful that they designed such a thing because it does make such a big difference. So there's two oil chambers, one at the top and then one at the bottom. So this is the front brake and then this is the back brake. And so yeah, that's basically what I'm rocking, and it works wonderfully. The one thing I would say is, so this is something to note actually. So I have 4 fingers as well. So when I'm riding, like I'll be positioned kind of like this, and so I usually only use the back brake as much as I can, because if I have to use my front brake as well, that means I have 2 fingers off, which means that I'm just resting kind of into my hand, and I don't have full mobility of this finger as well, so I can't like grip it as much. So if I have only 1 finger off, then I can wrap my index finger around and it gives me a bit more stability. And then when I'm feeling good, I just go deck gripping.
You do that a lot.
A little bit, yeah, but yeah.
You're better now.
But sometimes I do forget to use the front brake. It happens often that I'll be like, oh my God, that was out of control. Like I was going so fast down that steep thing. And then Alan will be like, were you using your front brake? And I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. So yeah, that does make a difference, a huge difference when I remember to use it. And then other than that, there's nothing different about my bicycle. Pretty chock-a-block up here. There's kind of a limitation to what kind of...
The dropper, lever, 2 brakes, and then your shifter. But everything works, like everything is within reach.
And shout out to my new Dybro sticker, because it's rad and I love it. Shout out to one who passed.
The only other thing I'd say about your bike is the rear caliper barely fitting on your frame, that'll be one thing to note if someone did want to get these. Yeah, it's very tight to the frame. There's not much space at all. It just fits. It fits, but just.
Yeah, just about. So, all in all, I think that's my scale.
So, what would you rate yourself from beginning when you first started biking to what you are like now?
Oh, I'm a semi-professional. I don't know. I've just come on a lot. Like, for me, the biggest part is that, like, I feel a lot more confident. And even that has just changed over the past year. I remember, like, sitting in my apartment in final year college, and before I got my full... when I got my full sauce. Actually, no, a bit before that. Anyway, that Christmas. And I was like, it's my New Year's resolution that I'm going to, like, have a bit more faith in myself, take a bit more pride in that I am doing really good. Like, I naturally am kind of, like... always aspiring to do better, but like, you know, just appreciating that, like, yeah, what I'm doing is good and not comparing myself to others. That is hard to do. It's hard not to do. I mean, it's very easy to do. But yeah, it doesn't really get me anywhere at the end of the day. And
what are some of the things the biking has led to?
The mountains. What else has it led to? Being broke, probably. I really hope the mic is like not just going to be like all the time. So, that's all from me. I really hope that someone gets something from this, because when I started biking, there's not really that many people to look onto and see how someone else is doing it. You know, just even knowing whether to buy those brakes, do they work? They were really expensive, you know. So yeah, if there's people that can like now have the courage to kind of figure it out as well, like, that's class. I think you should. And definitely, like, when I mentioned at the start, like, I thought that if I started biking and I was just going to be really bad at it, that, like, there would be no point. But, like, that's just a mindset thing. Like, if I get a tiny bit of air for, like, a millisecond, I'm going to be so happy for the rest of the day about that. And that is not worth missing out. I don't regret that. And, like, if I hadn't started biking, like, I wouldn't have gone to the Alps with my buddies this year and had those memories. So, you know, like, don't cheat yourself because you get scared, you know, like, just step into it. So yeah, that's my bit of advice. Have a good day. I need to get inside, I'm so cold. I can't remember what I was going to say at the start.
We're nearly done that.